king of 70 million people with a wealth in excess of $70 billion, is it right to be seen frolicking around in a crop top rather than a crown? Many of the subjects of the Thai monarch, King Vajiralongkorn, certainly don't like his skimpy outfits, but they're more furious about other parts of his outlandish lifestyle, his womanising, his alleged brutality, and the fact he seems to prefer the crisp air of the Bavarian Alps to the humidity of Bangkok. Oh, and there's also the small matter of Fufu, the pet poodle he appointed Chief Marshal of Thailand's Air Force. Germany's picturesque Alps might seem a strange place to start a story on the King of Thailand. But lately, these hills have been alive with the sounds of scandal. It's hard to believe, but you're looking at the richest monarch in the world, wearing a crop top and fake tattoos, enjoying an ice cream at a Bavarian shopping centre with one of his many lovers. It's this racy lifestyle that's seen King Vajiralongkorn called the demigod, who's a semi-Kardashian. While security guards might try to shield him, the king's signature outfit has been spotted in department stores, hopping into his chauffeur-driven limousine, and even when he's out cycling the region's rolling hills.
Have you seen him around the town?
Sometimes he goes to the Zugspitze without clothes. Naked. Naked.
But now, the king has been forced to head home to Thailand in his private jet, as protesters ignore the threat of arrest for speaking out against their ruler. Against the backdrop of alleged political interference and reckless spending by the monarch, tens of thousands have overtaken the streets of Bangkok, fed up with their out-of-touch and out-of-town king.
He wants the power, he wants the wealth. He just doesn't want to do the duties.
Are you willing to go to jail if that's what it takes in this fight for change?
Yeah, it's worth it if we can become democracy.
Thailand is world famous as an idyllic holiday destination. Home to some of the friendliest people you'll ever meet, it's known as the land of smiles. And nothing brought the proud locals more happiness than their previous king, Bhumibol. Universally respected, he was the world's longest reigning monarch, ruling for an extraordinary 70 years. His death back in 2016 sparked a year of mourning, unbridled grief for a leader they adored. He was replaced by his only son, the less popular Vajiralongkorn, who now also has to be treated with godlike adoration, including his wife laying at his feet. But for the first time, there are critics asking if this is a king worthy of their respect.
I wasn't able to go back to Thailand. I'd be jailed if I go back to Thailand because I've broken Thai law repeatedly by writing about the monarchy. And once I got started, once I already broke the law once, I thought I might as well keep going.
Journalist Andrew McGregor Marshall was forced to flee Bangkok and move to Edinburgh after becoming a vocal critic of King Vajiralongkorn when reporting for Reuters.
We love them all there.
The first red flag for many was the way the king treated women, amassing 4 wives and countless mistresses.
So there's all these marital scandals. He's known as a womanizer. He's believed to be living in Bavaria with a huge harem of women. And many of the women in the harem have been given a special surname and a military rank.
So he's got his own army regiment for his lovers.
Exactly. And according to palace sources, they've even been organized into a quasi-military unit, which the king calls the SAS, after Britain's Special Air Service. And they even have the same motto, who dares wins.
A few years ago, this salacious video leaked. The palace didn't want the world to see the embarrassing footage. The king is with his third wife, Surasmi, who's topless and in a G-string, celebrating the birthday of her husband's beloved pet poodle, Fufu. In fact, the king adored his dog so much, he crowned the K9 as a senior-ranking official in Thailand's Air Force. Is Air Chief Marshal Fufu the highest-ranking dog you've ever heard of?
I think so, and there are some really interesting details in leaked US Embassy cables about Thailand, where Fufu was appearing at royal dinners wearing uniforms. He would sometimes wear a little tuxedo and little boots, and he'd be allowed to jump up on the table and eat from all the ambassadors' plates, and nobody dared say anything. Fufu died a few years ago, and he was given a 4-day state funeral.
The bizarre behaviour was tolerated when Vajiralongkorn was crowned prince, but since his $40 million coronation in 2016, the new king's quirks and extravagant spending have raised eyebrows. The royal family's wealth is estimated at more than $70 billion, and the king stands accused of funding his wild ways in Germany at the expense of Thai taxpayers.
Lavish lifestyle. He spends most of his time in a luxury hotel in Bavaria, where he's rented the entire hotel for himself and his entourage. He has 3 Boeing 737 planes, so he's spending a huge amount of money, and it's Thai taxpayers that are footing all the bill for this.
When you're 10 times richer than the Queen of England, you're really having a laugh, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. He's the richest monarch in the world, so it's quite extraordinary. It's possible that he enjoys the freedom when he's in Germany of just letting loose and wearing whatever he chooses. And Thais have been quite shocked by these images because, they do expect their monarch to behave in a certain way and to follow Buddhist principles. And when they see him walking around malls in Germany with fake tattoos with some of his mistresses, it did cause quite significant shock.